Well, tonight we are honoring remembering Queen Elizabeth, the monarch who reigned for decades, 7 decades, continues to lie in state in Westminster Hall in London.
CBS 2's Christine Johnson is there tonight with the tribute by the Queen's children. Christine?
It's a very personal moment on public display here in London earlier this evening when King Charles and his siblings went into Westminster Hall to hold a 15-minute vigil at their mother's coffin. Entry to the line to see the coffin was actually paused today for 6 hours. When it reached capacity, it has since resumed, but the wait is now an estimated 24 hours. Now, it is really hard to imagine to wait online for that long, but it really does tell us how much this queen meant to her people. For some perspective on that, let's go to CBS 2's Bauman, who spent some time with some former New Yorkers who now have lived in London for 8 years.
Lior and Jessica Cohen are New Yorkers at heart, but have lived in London for the past 8 years, ever since their twins were just 10 months old.
I thought the Queen was amazing, and she was very kind and helpful, and that she helped the world and inspired lots of people.
For the past week, as the UK comes together in mourning, the Cohens are acting as royal correspondents, if you will, for their loved ones back home.
Family and friends all over the world are mesmerized and fascinated by it. So everybody sends emails and tweets and messages, and so to speak, they just want to know what's going on.
Thousands of people waiting upwards of 20 hours in line to see the Queen lying in state at Westminster Hall can be hard for many Americans to fathom.
Queuing is part of the national culture here, but also, I mean,
it's a sense of pride as well.
An enormously unifying element.
New Yorkers would be hard-pressed to think of any celebrity as enduring as Queen Elizabeth.
I think, you know, what you see from over this side of the Atlantic, it's really not just the person, it's also the position and the place that makes it a very important element in this country.
I asked the Cohens what in the U.S. could compare to the energy throughout London right now.
It does remind me of when we were in New York and we were in Manhattan during the storms and Sandy, and how people came together to help neighbors, and it's very similar to here.
There's such a grandness to the pomp and circumstance around the royal family, and many of the traditions that we're seeing here this week are older than the United States itself. So why are Americans so bewitched by the Windsors?
Everybody has lost somebody or has had family members die. And this reminds us that the royal family is just like our families. We may not have the jewels and the houses and the palaces, but there are links.
In London, Bauman, CBS 2 News.
And the family says that just experiencing this togetherness with the other residents of this city and of this country has made London feel even more like home for them. Maurice and Jessica.
Well, Christine, such a beautiful line there about the unifying power of family. They are the royal family, but still just a family. Speaking of, we saw the king this evening at the vigil, but he had a busy day, you say.
For up to 6 hours. He certainly did. He was actually in Wales this morning with the Queen Consort. They went there to visit with the Prime Minister and also hold a prayer service there. That actually completed his tour of all the nations in the United Kingdom.
Thanks so much for bringing the story home for us all these days and this past week. The next step, we'll see you Monday for the funeral afterwards, and we're looking forward to how that goes and how it brings people together even more. Thanks so much.
And stay with CBS News New York and CBSNewYork.com for continuing coverage. You can look for another report from Christine Johnson tonight at 11 o'clock.